Queen Anne, the newest addition to the Cunard fleet. Not only is she the newest, but she also carries more passengers than any other queens before her. In this episode of The Ship Files, we will give you the full tour and our experience on board Queen Anne.
We travelled on our inaugural World Voyage for 107 nights, and having also spent over 100 nights on Queen Mary II, and sailed many times on Victoria and Elizabeth, we can not only give you our take on Queen Anne, but can also provide some comparisons with her Cunard sisters, including the areas where Queen Anne is a big improvement, where she isn't, and also some of the more controversial elements we heard people discussing while on board.
While many things on cruise ships and itineraries are subjective, let's first just get a few facts on Queen Anne. She holds 2,996 passengers plus 1,225 crew. She has 15 dining venues, which is by far the highest in the Cunard fleet. Queen Anne has the largest curated art collection on the ocean and is the only ship in the world where you can do archery at sea.
But enough trivia. What is Queen Anne like in the flesh? Well, when stepping on board Queen Anne, you can immediately feel that this is a fresh approach from Cunard. She does feel different to Queen Mary II, Victoria and Elizabeth. The decor, the styling, the ambience, you can tell it's Cunard, but also that this ship is more modern than the others.
The grand lobby is an area of the ship you will pass through a lot when on board. Working your way up from deck 1, you will find the purser's desk, World Club lounge, and seating areas for coffee and drinks. Moving up a level on deck 2 is the chart room bar and the Club Britannia restaurant. More on these shortly. Then on deck 3, we have the Corinthia lounge and some of the ship's many shopping boutiques.
The grand lobby is also a great place to chill, people watch, get your formal night picture taken, and orientate yourself for where you want to head next. Now, depending on which direction and deck you take out of the grand lobby, you will find all kinds of restaurants, bars, swimming pools, games rooms, and outside areas. So for the rest of the ship tour, we have broken it down into some key areas: food and drink, nightlife, outdoor, and accommodation.
So let's start with our favorite and an area Queen Anne excels: food and drink. First up, your regular dining options. For those not staying in the grill suites, these will be either Britannia Restaurant or Britannia Club Restaurant. Every day this option is available to you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For our world cruise, we were in Britannia Club, but we did eat in Britannia a couple of times too during the voyage. Depending on your choice, you can either have set times and table every day in Britannia, or you could keep it more flexible with open dining in Britannia Club. In Britannia Club, you have a set table that doesn't change and you can arrive for your meal anytime within a certain window. For example, dinner was 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. and you arrive whenever you want and the same table and staff will wait.
The menu will usually be 3 to 5 courses, whatever you prefer, and we'll always have salad, soups, main, dessert, cheese board, and the menu changes daily. There are always vegetarian and meat lover options. This is also the same in the Britannia restaurant. Now, as to which is better, it depends on what you prefer. Club is more expensive and has the benefit of being flexible and generally probably less stress. But in our opinion, the main Britannia restaurant is always the grandest restaurant on Cunard. It's way bigger and just feels like a special venue compared to the more nice restaurant vibe of Britannia Club. Another venue that feels like your own regular dining space is the Artisan Food Hall, more commonly known as the buffet.
From breakfast through to midnight snack, This is the relaxed place to eat any time of the day. No dress code, self-service, and no stress. There are lots of options here including main meals, snacks, salads, soups, desserts, ice creams. The local delicacies and festive menu appears here too, like local fruits in the Far East or Lunar New Year celebration. Definitely one of the main hubs of activity on Queen Anne. And if you do stay out late for dancing and a few drinks, head there for a late night snack, the Cunard equivalent of a guilty takeaway after the pub. Other dining highlights include the Wellness Cafe, a new concept for Queen Anne. Healthy food, drinks, all made to order. I found myself here many times. When you are eating big meals every night on a cruise, a fresh light lunch rejuvenates. Make your order, get your buzzer, and watch the waves roll by, or catch a movie while you eat.
There are 4 specialty restaurants on Queen Anne. These venues have an extra charge and can be booked while on board. Indian food is served at Aranya, Mediterranean at Tramonto. Then the next 2 restaurants are a step up both in terms of quality and price. Sir Samuel's, which is all about steaks and seafood. There have been various versions of Sir Samuel's across the different Cunard ships, and from our experience, it always delivers. Wagyu steaks, lobster, melt-in-your-mouth ribs, addictive side dishes. Well worth a visit if you're into this type of food.
Then finally is what was for us the peak of dining on Queen Anne, Aji-Wa. This is a totally new concept for Cunard and Queen Anne. Japanese food with a big focus on sushi and tempura. This was totally our jam. The chef will prepare your meal in front of you, and the whole ambience, visuals, feeling, and flow on eating in Aji-Wa is comparable to even the best sushi restaurants on land. A massive win for Queen Anne and for sushi lovers. There are lots of other places to grab food, like the burger and hot dog station in Pavilion, which also has its own gelato station. Cakes, sandwiches, and snacks can also be found in the Corinthia Lounge. And afternoon tea is served daily in the Queen's Room. So all in all, the food offering on Queen Anne is great. Lots of brilliant food included in your fare, and lots of further options if you want to treat yourself to something a little extra, whatever you prefer.
Now before we go any further in this ship files, it's probably worth just clarifying something about Cunard and Queen Anne. As our channel title implies, we are relatively young for Cunard, and frankly for the amount of cruising we have done. Many of our friends thought we were mad or weird when we explained how the cruise was, and one area that always jumped out to people was the dress code on board. I work in a creative job and I never wear suits on land. In fact, I rarely even dress anywhere near formally on land. So why would I, out of choice, go on a ship that has a dress code, and on certain nights request you make a special effort? Even if I love cruising, why Cunard? One of the most traditional and formal lines out there. The answer for me is twofold. First of all, the tradition and the grandeur is part of the experience. It feels like I imagine cruising did in the golden age of ocean liners and royal expeditions. Second of all, if you do want to wear jeans and t-shirt to dinner, that's totally cool. There are certain venues on Queen Anne where that is fine. Hit the pub or the buffet. Or another option is to not cruise with Cunard and find a cruise line that fits your taste best. I still hate wearing suits on land, but I love wearing them on Cunard. Maybe my friends are right, I am weird. I remember my first cruise on Queen Mary 2 14 years ago, and I was super nervous about what to wear and pack. But the truth is, it'll be fine. Pack a suit, but don't feel like you are heading to some really stressful experience. It's all way more relaxed than you imagine.
Now with that being said, Let's dim the lights and talk about entertainment and nightlife on Queen Anne. Starting with the biggest venue on the ship, the Royal Court Theatre. During the day, the place for lectures, matinee performances, and films. During the evening, the place for live music, dance, and the headline acts of your voyage. There are usually a couple of performance times every night for those that want dinner and a show, or for those that want a show then dinner. Another flagship night spot on Queen Anne is the Queen's Room. Now, this place was controversial with people we talked to on board. On Queen Anne, the Queen's Room is smaller and in a way not quite as grand as on her sister ships. For example, the Queen's Room on Queen Mary II is way bigger and feels special when you spend an evening there. But we must say, even though we agree, we still hit the Queen's Room on Queen Anne all the time. The live music, watching people dance, the glamorous outfits, it still feels special even if the venue is slightly less so versus other Cunard ships.
Elsewhere on Queen Anne you have the eternally popular pub, the Golden Lion. A great place to eat, a chill place to drink, a steady programme of pub quizzes, live music and no dress code. One of the best places on the ship. Heading up to the heights of Deck 11 you will find the Commodore Club. Now if Queen Mary II wins the Battle of the Ballrooms, Queen Anne fights back with a much better Commodore Club. Way bigger, way brighter during the day, and overall a brilliant place to relax and watch the world drift by during the day, and a place for piano soundtrack and lounge vibes on a night. A great place to start or end your evening on board.
Another new dedicated venue on Queen Anne is Bright Light Society, a small show bar style place with live performances designed to be experienced close up and with some audience interaction thrown in the mix. As with all entertainment, this could either be your favorite place on board or not your cup of tea, but it's certainly different to the other venues on board. On our World Voyage, all the shows at Bright Light Society were bookable with no extra charge, but the word on the street is saying Cunard now charge for some of these, so things may have changed.
Another way to spend your night is an area we walked through many times but didn't get involved with, which was the casino. Even though it's not for us, it's a cool spot. Loads of machines, card tables, roulette, a dazzling venue. Now depending on your itinerary, this next chapter of our episode will show you the spaces you either need to wrap up for or strip off for, as we head outside to some of Queen Anne's many outdoor areas. Overall there are some brilliant spaces, and another controversial one for Cunarders.
Let's start with the main outside space, located at the rear of the ship. Heading out from the buffet on Deck 9, you emerge into the Panorama Pool Club, a beautiful space with a great bar, live music, some loungers, and yes, the main pool of the ship. In the nice weather, this is one of the main spots during the day. Usually a cool soundtrack playing in the background, waiters serving drinks, people catching rays, reading books, chilling in hot tubs, swimming a couple of ends, whatever mood takes you.
Nipping up the stairs to Deck 10 reveals more lounges and a great view of the pool. One deck further and you arrive at a little gem of a place which includes loads more, quieter lounges, another bar, outdoor games, all under the iconic sight of that famous red funnel. This was my preferred space to get my tan on and relax with my headphones on.
Other places that are worth a visit are the games areas with golf, pickleball, and the aforementioned archery area. Up here is also the observation deck and the smoking area. This is a great place for viewing what is in front of you at sea. For example, when we sailed through the Panama Canal and Gatun Lake, this was the place to be. Another cool, kind of hidden away bar is the Sky Lounge. Cold beers, amazing views, and relaxed atmosphere. From here, you can also look down into the pavilion, a hybrid space with a retractable roof. Does that count as an outdoor space? Kind of, I guess, but we will come on to that.
Now for the controversial, or more accurately, the outdoor space that was causing quite the meltdown with a few passengers, and that is what is Queen Anne's kind of promenade. It's hard to describe it as that on Queen Anne because the truth is, sadly, she doesn't have one. The promenade deck on Queen Mary 2 is spectacular. 360 views, beautiful wooden lounges and chairs, mobile drink station wheeled alongside you to take your order as you sail the world. Iconic.
However, on Queen Anne, there is no such thing. No loungers, no uninterrupted views, more of a walking track. Which, to be honest, we do walk all the time. It's a great way to get steps, fresh air, and just feel like you are close to the water. But obviously, for those comparing, this left something of a missing piece of the voyage experience that did not sit well with some of the more seasoned travelers on board. As with other areas of Queen Anne, sometimes there are big improvements, sometimes you miss the traditional elements of the older Cunard ships, but this goes back to what you prefer personally. For us, Queen Anne is way better than Queen Mary 2 in some aspects, and Queen Mary 2 is still the greatest in other areas. Let's just agree that if you are sailing on either ship, you are lucky and that you should savor and enjoy whichever queen you are traveling on.
Heading back inside, another main hub of the ship is the pavilion. We have already touched on this as the home of the wellness cafe for healthy bites. It's also the place for burgers, hot dogs and gelato for indulgence. But the pavilion is much more than merely a place to grab lunch. It serves as a main meeting point on the ship and is also home to the cinema screenings, games and activities, and the other main pool on Queen Anne. You will notice I didn't say swimming pool. This pool is super shallow, so it's best for a nice dip or for little kids. Do not try and swim in there, or you could end up looking quite foolish as your arms and legs scrape against the pool floor. Trust my personal experience on this one. Around the pavilion is a wellness studio for yoga sessions, table tennis, and more hot tubs for chilling. These have the added advantage of watching a film while you soak. Dream. In terms of Queen Anne itself, there are many other places worth mentioning, including the art gallery, which always makes you slow your walk and appreciate. The glittering chart room for coffees or cocktails.
The library was one of my favorite places on the ship, whether it be for exploring the ship's collection, taking my own book there, or finding a quiet yet scenic setting to work. Although we didn't use it, the games room is the hub for the bridge addicts on board, of which there are many. There are also numerous boutiques with everything from handbags and collectibles through to emergency snacks and toiletries. The spa or thermal suite is a nice area with sauna, steam, whirlpool. It sits next to the gym, which is well equipped. Hair and beauty treatment rooms also popular for others on board.
Now we have seen the main areas of the ship, it's time to zone in on accommodation. For our World Voyage we stayed in a club balcony stateroom. The room, the bed and the storage space were all fine. The bathroom, and particularly the showers on Queen Anne, are a big upgrade on previous ships, with a proper glass cubicle replacing those dated 1970s shower curtains.
But of course, the highlight of this room is the balcony, your own private space to take in the views, the air, and the journey you are on. We would head out that many times a day, sometimes for a minute to take stock of where we are and check the weather. Other times, we would be out there for hours with a pot of Yorkshire Gold and watching the world drift by.
In addition to the spaces on Queen Anne, there are a few other things worth mentioning for anyone considering making that booking or intrigued by what's new on the ship. Wi-Fi is amazing and expensive. The top Starlink package will allow you to Zoom, stream movies, download big files, but it will cost you a fortune. On our World Voyage we spent thousands on this, as we needed to work while we travelled the world.
Excursions booked through the ship are interesting. It's a hard comparison for us to make at this particular moment because we have just completed a river cruise on Ama Magna, in which the excursions are amazing and included in the price. So compared to that, Cunard is left in dust. By the way, you can watch our film from Ama Magna here. But anyway, we booked around 5 or 6 excursions directly with Cunard during our World Voyage with a success rate of 50-50. Our tip: if the ship is miles away from where you want to go, book the official excursion. Then the ship won't leave without you. If what you want to do is closer, take the adventurous approach and research, explore, and do it yourself. That's all part of the fun.
So in summary, Queen Anne. The newest? Yes. The best Cunard ship? Maybe. The best food lineup? Yes. The best entertainment? Probably. Our favourite Cunard ship now? Yes.
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more films and episodes from Cruising with Millennials. You can watch our entire World Voyage film here and also our Danube River Cruise film here. We also have a free mailing list that you can join at cruisingwithmillennials.com. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video shortly.